Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gfinity Summer Masters. This is a Call of Duty World League Challenge Division event, and we have had 16 teams enter, and we are left with just 2. This is the grand final. Stories have already been told, legends have been made, but now it's up to HyperGames and Splyce to go one game further, to walk away with a championship and all the bragging rights it entails. Well, my name is Bryce, and joining me here on the desk for the last breakdown of the last game of this tournament, I have Tun and Teep. Guys, first of all, how excited are you for this one?
I'm super excited because I mean, nobody really expected HyperGames to be here. And I think they proved something with the Millennium, winning that game, especially in the fashion that they did. If they can go in and beat Splyce, I think everyone has to shut up.
We've been casting a lot of doubt on this HyperGames lineup, but somehow they're finding a way to pull out these series, and that test against Millennium, they were able to get the reverse sweep on them, which is a very, very tough task to do. Again, we can't really count them out again, can we?
I don't know. See, I like being honest with this, right? And what they did was amazing. There is no doubt in my mind what they just did was amazing. But it's one team. There is another team standing in their way. That team is called Splyce. That team has proved itself time and time again. HyperGames, I will give them more credit than I would have given them an hour and a half ago. But can they do it again? Can they take down a team that everybody has picked over them time and time again? Can they, basically shut us all up is what I'm asking.
I think that is the ultimate question, essentially. But I mean, I think you're going in when they went in against Millennium have been playing very, very well this weekend. They probably impressed me the most out of I would say they impressed me more than Splyce so far this weekend. It's hard to really say that because I mean, obviously playing against different teams, and they beat them. The first two maps we looked at them and Millennium looked so strong. They looked ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
HyperGames, when they got settled in the game, they started playing well. So I think if they can bring what they did in those last 3 maps, in the last minute in the Hardpoint in the first map, then they can win the series.
All right, well, before we get too much into breaking this one down, we're going to remind you how this all came together. A lot of teams come out of the groups and they came into this bracket. HyperGames got pretty much a favorable draw for them. We thought the Supremacy draw was pretty good, but they took them down 3-1. We see Millennium in quarterfinal 4 below them. They had Infused. That was a game we're all looking forward to, but Millennium walked away with that one as well. On the other side of the bracket, you can see Dexerto taking down Team Orbit, but they had to go against a Splyce who'd already taken down Epsilon. Splyce took that game as well. And of course, HyperGames just defeated Millennium, leading to this grand final now. Here is the question. Infused, for me, I just want to quickly touch on them. They lost actually in the groups. They then lost to Millennium. What has happened to them?
Bad weekend, I think.
Bad weekend?
Because you look at how they've played in multiple events in the past year or so. I mean, ESWC, they went out to Optic. No real mean feat with that one, You can be disappointed with it, but, it's expected.
Hey, who hasn't lost to Optic nowadays?
Well, yeah, exactly. And then other than that, MLG, they beat the Splyce squad. They went in there, they did very well. Unlucky to get knocked out where they were as well.
But this is the question I'm now rounding round to. I'm going to do the typical Call of Duty thing, and I'm going to go with the logic puzzle, right? Infused beat Splyce at a LAN 3 weeks ago. They played Millennium. Millennium beat them, so technically Millennium should be on top of that pile. HyperGames then just beat Millennium, so now you've got HyperGames at the top. And they're playing Splyce, who we just realized is at the bottom of the pile. Is that something to base off, or is that just the old logic puzzle of you've beat X and they beat X and so on and so forth, or is it something we can base off?
I mean, that's like saying, though, Dexerto beat Infused, so does that make them ultimately better than Infused, you know what I mean?
Well, right now, yes.
Right this second, yeah, but I mean, it's that age-old thing. I mean, there's so many different comparisons I could use to say against that, but I mean, I think you can't really look at it in that way. I think you have to look at how teams play it on the weekend. If it was a running trend, we've looked at HyperGames and said, why have they got this reputation for what they do, not performing at LAN? It's happened time and time again. Infused have lost one, they've had one bad weekend. Other than that, what have they done this season? Very, very well.
I think it was a fair question. I think I'm trying to benchmark these teams, trying to work out roughly where they sit.
shooting you down, bro. Don't worry.
No, that's all right. I said I've got to put it out there. There'll be people out there kind of basing it in their mind already like that. You know, you beat the best, you become the best. You keep doing that, so on and so forth. But I thought it was an interesting kind of point to bring up, you know, is that Millennium, they took down Infused. Infused, you know, were probably one of the favourites coming into this event.
The favourite.
Yeah, and then everyone went, wow, Millennium, they might be the favourites. And then HyperGames took them down. Splyce, everyone was kind of not really shined as much like them. We've put them in that bracket, but they've taken down Epsilon, and that was a hard game for them. You know, they've had a few dominant performances, but it hasn't certainly been flawless from them. You know, I'm just trying to build up HyperGames a little bit. I think, you know, maybe it could be a little bit of a different story.
We've been doubting them the whole weekend, to be honest, and I don't really want to do it again in this one, but I feel like Splyce has shown more dominant performances throughout the weekend. HyperGames have always seemed to be fighting a little bit behind. They've been lacking in the hard points. They're inconsistent in search and destroy. Yeah. The only game type we've seen HyperGames really have a lot of success, I guess, would be CTF. It's where we've seen them have dominating performances.
Weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to say. Looking at the semifinals, though, that's the most recent performance we have to base it off of, in my opinion. Going into Grand Final, you kind of feed off of the momentum of the match previous. Splyce coming off of a 22-0 against Dexerto on an uplink like that. That's a lot of momentum. That is not only dominating, that is next level. That is elite tier. When you're trying to do that to a team on that level in a semifinal, that feeds a lot of energy into you.
It certainly does, and I think it's something we've got to bear in mind here as well. And I was trying to gauge benchmarks. It's very difficult for these teams now kind of slamming together because HyperGames hasn't been in that mix. We didn't see them at Anaheim. We haven't really seen them in that top echelon before. They kind of crashed out earlier. The only kind of sample size we have to go on is the CWL, which everyone thought didn't kind of show their true skill. And now the games that we've got here, which apparently it did.
Yeah, I mean, I said, you know, the online is sort of a basis we can make a small prediction off, but ultimately it's not the total teller of how things are going to go down in a different environment to the online CWL, but I don't really have a point. At this moment in time, though, I think you can look at the previous series against Millennium, say, yes, okay, they played well in that game. Will they have to step it up? I mean, obviously, it comes back to your question about benchmarks, you know. Yeah, again, Splyce above, HyperGames just beat Millennium.
I never even had HyperGames in this benchmark. That was the issue I was coming to over and over again when I thought this through. All right, let's kind of move on from that now because we've circled around that point for a bit too long. Top players in both these two teams. Who's impressed this weekend? Who hasn't? Who are we looking for in this game to really be the star?
From what we see in the semis, in my opinion, for Splyce, it's got to be Bance taking over with the kinetic armor specialist, popping so many aggressive kills. The respawns in the last series impressed me so much from this Splyce squad, being able to take over so much. Moving over to the other side, HyperGames, I feel like it's been a bit more of a team effort, but Search and Destroys, I feel like that's where they're going to need to have success, and Nolson's been the biggest figure for me. When he's able to shut the other team down with that sniper rifle, make them play so darn slow on the map, that's how you set tempo, and that's very, very important.
For me, I think you look at HyperGames, and when Brain played poorly, they lost the map. When he played well, they won the maps. I mean, I know that's a very simple thing to base it off, but when Brain plays well and he holds things down for his team, that allows the rest of them to sort of spread their wings a little bit. You know, they can move on, get aggressive like they want to. And I think if he can play well, they've got a really good chance in this series.
I'm quite surprised, you know, we haven't really focused on Quicker. I think he's had a phenomenal weekend.
Well in the S&D especially.
I mean, this is the guy who gets a lot of stick from me, from everybody, from his teammates as well, right? This is the same player we're talking about who had Heatwave taken away from him because his teammates didn't trust him. But again, I said at Season 1 finals, I thought Quicker was their best player. Again, this weekend, he has proved, you know, just how good he can be against the top teams in Europe.
Yeah, and, you know, I think, again, I want to go back to the Brain point. I mean, the S&D, you can't really say that so much because Quicker had a very good last S&D against Millennium there. But I think it's just when he starts playing well, the rest of the team can then start doing their jobs better. They really rely on Brain, I feel, to have a good game. I mean, we've seen the Hardpoint. The first half, he was terrible. I mean, he was goddamn awful. And then moving into it, he switched to an SMG, which he needed to do because the AR battles weren't being won by him. He wasn't able to get Swanee off there, so they thought, sod it, we'll just flood the hill instead. And it worked out for him. In the end, he started playing well. S&D, I mean, Millennium was strong in that game, irrelevant of HyperGames. So, but the rest of the series, he played very, very well. He was holding things down. If anything, he was playing better than Swanee. You know, he was sort of getting in those positions that he needed to, probably better than Swan. And then that really just helped the team move on.
All right, well, we've covered the players. Let's cover the vetoes now and see how these two teams decided to play this grand final. As you can see here, HyperGames, they do have that first seed, so they ban out Breach, Splyce take down Stronghold, and they get a Fringe pick in. T, what do you think about that?
I think that favors Splyce, to be honest. We see what they were able to do on that Fringe a little bit earlier. I think the assault rifle, more map control based maps are going to suit Splyce in that fact, but HyperGames, confident enough to pick it. Splyce, obviously not very good at Stronghold, so getting rid of that again. It's going to be a very good first map, but Splyce impressed me a lot on Fringe.
They certainly did. Moving on then, we are going to see Search and Destroy. And that's going to be an infection ban coming out from Splyce. Stronghold taken away by HyperGames. They've been consistently banning that out. They're not happy with Stronghold. And they're going to take on Redwood. That's Splyce who picked that early on.
It surprises me because I see a lot of complaints about Redwood. I mean, you know, a lot of people don't seem to like playing that map. I mean, so it surprised me that they brought it in. I think it probably will favor Splyce as well with the AR dominance that they should have. I mean, not further towards B. I mean, A is more the area where they would likely to see it, mix it up completely. B is the area more likely to see it, not A. It's an easy mistake to make. There's only two to choose from. But yeah, the AR presence from Splyce will definitely help them in that map.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think it kind of favors Splyce a little bit again, and of course, that's probably why they picked it. Moving on then, we can see the Uplink. It's going to be a Breach ban coming in from HyperGames. Evac for Splyce to say, no, we don't want any of that. You just took down Milt. We're not going to have that one in. Infection is going to be the one they pick.
We just saw Splyce score 22 points, completely shut out Dexerto on Infection. I don't know if this is trying to call him out again. Can you replicate that same performance? Would I necessarily have the same balls in a sense to do that? Probably not. But then again, you're going to go away. You can't shy away from that, I guess. So makes a lot of sense to me. But again, advantage Splyce.
I like the confidence pick. All right, moving on, capture the flag. We can see Stronghold gets taken out by Splyce. HyperGames take down Evac, and we get a Breach pick coming in. And a lot of players like Breach to kind of play capture the flag. They feel it's one of those maps that has more returns than normal.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a faster-paced one, obviously. For me, though, I mean, even if HyperGames can get off to a quick start like they did in the previous CTF that we've seen against the Millennium, they could definitely win that. They just need to get set up with Brain again. I think he needs to control it well, and if he can do, then they can go on to win that. But again, the ARs on Splyce are very, very strong. It's gonna, I mean, we're looking at every single map here, and it's always going to be hard for HyperGames.
Yeah, I think so as well. But you know what? They're confident in their picks. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Moving on to the next Search and Destroy, you can see it's Evac banned by HyperGames. Splyce took out Hunted, which, let's be honest, if you watched that last game, you would too. Yeah. And then we get a Breach pick coming in from HyperGames. And that leaves us with Hardpoint Evac and Search and Destroy Fringe.
Evens out the series pretty well. I think if this series does go on some of those later maps, HyperGames could have the advantage in some of those close quarter fights. But overall, there's the set. The best of 7 is finally ready. The veto's going through. Initially, going to give the advantage to some of these maps to Splyce that focus on the longer range gunfights, map control, things like that. But moving on later, once we get to those breaches, I feel like that's where HyperGames, if they can make it there, can turn the tide.
Well, they certainly had an impressive uplink and capture the flag so far. So as you can see, the best of 7 is all ready to go, and we're going into the ban and protect. Josh says, no, 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 stock is disappearing.
Well, that doesn't surprise me, actually.
Nope, not even a little bit.
I mean, we've seen nothing happen to stock whatsoever in that previous game. So Josh is going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. You heard that one?
I've never heard that one.
We'll explain it later. It's just something different to put in there against HyperGames to see where they can go with that one.
I'm not sure we have to explain cat amongst the pigeons to him.
Do we not?
I feel like throwing a cat amongst birds is a fairly self-explanatory expression.
Yeah, I mean, think about it.
I just haven't heard it before.
It's tiny. Just wants to treat you like a child. I won't have it on my desk. I
have to have some sort of something against them because, I mean, everything else is going wrong.
All right, well, interesting thing. The M8 has been taken out. HXD and Semtex and Frag are all going to be removed. So they won't be worrying about Flak Jacket in this series. But you know what has made it through? Double Tactical.
Okay. I'd be interested to see who took the M8.
I like the frags getting targeted in this one. Okay. Looks like Splyce doesn't want to deal with that M8. You know, that's sort of a call-out ban. Can you use those other assault rifles? Splyce is going to be the better overall assault rifle team, more versatile for sure. So getting rid of that most preferred assault rifle, I really like that pick. Don't have to worry about Flak Jacket as well. Stack up your classes a little bit, but tags are in.
I would have kind of liked to see maybe a Man of War pick as well. If they're going to go down that route, you know, take out that as well. I'm sure they're going to see that flying around. Although for me, Bats with the Man of War is an absolute demon. So for me, that's probably why it stayed in.
Yeah, just to point out, the last ban wasn't actually picked. I'm presuming it was going to be high caliber there from Nolson. He didn't get it in there.
Barrow. What is going on?
Hold on.
Is this serious?
I don't know. I'm sure the admins will confirm it for us. I can see a lot of pointing going on in the HyperGames booth, so I'm going to imagine no.
Yeah,
No, I
usually
wanna
not
see him
gonna
use it.
the Sparrow.
Get it out.
Oh, okay. I believe someone accidentally messed around with their controller and messed it up. So I think we're going to be okay with that one. I think that's going to get redrafted very, very quickly. They'll probably have the same bans and protect. So I imagine that high caliber was the last one, and then we'll do another specialist draft. So don't worry. Everything hasn't gone crazy here in the grand final. It's very normal. It's just one of the, I think the HyperGames players have pulled out. I don't know what they did. They
The
did something with the
misclick
controller.
already. Are you nervous?
Maybe
man.
so.
That's tough.
All right, well, I kind of want to see this first map, though. Let's talk about this first map. And you kind of said you wanted to favor Splyce, but are you going to hold steady with that?
Yeah, I definitely am, especially with how much they impressed me in the first one. You know, Dexerto did such a good job early on rotations. They actually won most of the rotations, but Splyce just bullied through and broke through the setup very, very quickly, along with winning Granny. As long as you sacrifice a little bit to focus on that money hill on Fringe, it doesn't matter what you're doing the rest of the map, to be honest. That's a lot of time you're able to net very quickly.
Are you joining him, Ton?
Yeah, I think so. I think you've got to look even previously at HyperGames' previous Hardpoint game against Millennium. You look at that and think, didn't have a great start with that either. The AR control didn't work out against Swanee. So, I mean, a very lockdown Splyce AR-heavy team is going to be really hard for Brain to lock things down. I think it's going to be very hard for them.
I think for me, the M8 ban plays a little bit of a factor. I think taking that away, I'm looking forward. I expect to see that Man of War come in abundance. And I do feel like Splyce might be a little bit better with that Man of War. But I don't know. I think Nolson is a player that we do look over a little bit. You got more of the bigger personalities, Zed and Quicker, that consistently get talking about. Brain, you know, he can be good. You said it earlier. You know, they seem to win the match where he went off. But Nolson, he's so quiet that people do overlook him. But a lot of players, everybody outside the pros, think he's the best player on the team. I'm looking at him.
For me, yeah, he did shine in a couple of moments in the series against Millennium. And I want to see more of it, though. I didn't see enough to warrant maybe saying that he's had a fantastic tournament so far. I mean, he's played well at times, but I want to see it on a consistent basis in the series, and it's going to need to be a consistent basis if they want to take anything from it.
Yeah, completely agree with that one. Again, best of 7, 3 search and destroy setup. I don't know who to really give the edge in some of these search and destroy maps. They have their,
been amazing in the
picks, and I feel like HyperGames is sort of set up. The way they set the tempo is something that could mess up Splyce's strategies a bit. They seem to play very standard on search and destroy, and if Nolson's able to be that dynamic with the PO6, for example, on most of these maps, the FMJ working out really well for him. I haven't seen him have a bad map really with the sniper.
No.
If he's able to keep that up, Splyce is not going to be able to play standard.
Okay, so we saw the ban and protect, but what would you change? What would you at least consider changing? You say this doesn't go well for either team.
Ban
Is
hand caliber this time.
That's a good one. But say it doesn't go well. How would you change it? How would you manipulate it? Are you thinking maybe take a VMP out? Maybe take the Man of War out if that's really dominant in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say the Man of War. It's probably the easiest assault rifle to shoot, at least in my opinion, and especially if a team that doesn't shoot necessarily as well, I would give the overall gun skill advantage and positional advantage to Splyce. I think that the Man of War could help out HyperGames quite a bit. So I guess if it doesn't go well for Splyce, start to target that in some of these later respawns.
Definitely, I think, to be honest, I just agree with what you said there. I mean, you can see if the Man of War was banned away, then we've definitely seen HyperGames use it quite well at the same time. So we can see what they're going to do with it here, obviously, with the M8 going out. I think Brain, when I watched him use that, and as I say, I keep going back to the point of him playing well.
Big Brain fan.
Well, you know what? He lives about 15 minutes away from me. It's the
now we see.
That's
Best buddy Ton.
No, I think he played well with the Man of War previously anyway. So I don't think the M8 is too big of a thing for HyperGames. I think they can adapt to that. But like we said, we've seen Splyce use it to great effect this weekend. So if they can continue on, it's probably going to overpower HyperGames.
I think something we may see, in fact, no, I guarantee this. What we are going to see is HyperGames will change that stock ban around. They'll probably go, you know what, especially if they lose this first map, they'll be sitting there going, right, that is staying in next time. They're going to try and rush the protect. I imagine Splyce will be trying to rush the ban consistently. And I wonder, for me, it's more about, you know, HyperGames. If they lose the map, it's going to be more on their mind, if that makes sense. They'll be like, right, got to protect it. I wonder if Splyce will be ready, waiting to ban it out. How concentrated they are after a win, going into the next ban and protect, going, right, ready to ban. I know some teams, you know, they do get ready for it. They make sure. I mean, we've even seen teams practice ban and protects before to get that speed up. And I wonder if that's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely going on to some of these later maps. You see the double breach map set in this. That's where something where, you know, you kind of want your submachine gun players to have that stock available. You can, you know, run a 3-sub setup on those breaches, for example, and having stock on it is a completely different game with that submachine gun. So depending on which team is or not struggling, you definitely think about that. You keep that in your head going into each ban and protect.
Well, one thing we haven't talked about completely, double lethal ban coming in. Now, double tag, we probably wouldn't even mention it. It's very, very standard, but a double lethal coming in, I don't think we've seen that many of them this tournament. What do you make of that, other than maybe they just don't want to run flak jacket?
Basically, it's something we see Optic do quite a bit. Instead of having to focus on a flak jacket and tack, you get rid of one of them. You see one Semtex go out, you get later in the ban and protect, it's like, oh, we can just get rid of the other one as well. So instead of having to focus on double protection in terms of perks, you can run that afterburner, not worry about getting taken out by those lethals, but maybe that's when you can pull out maybe like a war machine or something. Most of the time you're not going to see in this ban and protect, probably not on Fringe, but other maps, for example, that could come into play.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point you've made out. Nobody will be expecting. I wonder how many trophies are going to be running. Again, it's that question, are they really going to run trophies when they might as well just take tack and the points they can actually accumulate someplace? I mean, they're going to be running VMPs anyway, right? So for me, I don't feel like you're going to need that many trophies. So yeah, I think maybe the tack ban is just the smart way to go, and probably won't see Flash and Concussion actually make that much of an impact in this.
No, I agree with what you're both saying at the end of the day. I mean, I think looking towards, I mean, Millennium tried to use the Semtexes in the S&D that we did see. I think Tommy tried, especially in that first round, used them very, very well. So, I mean, you can sort of look towards that. But in this, nothing too much to speak about on the grenades front. Anyway.
We've also seen HyperGames be very effective with their lethals. So there's definitely kind of targeted bans coming out here, especially when the HCXD gets removed. Because if you are not going to run flak jacket, I mean, we might see a dart. It's not really that common because it takes out the game for quite a while on Hardpoint.
Yeah.
But if you know there's no flak jackets in, and you know there might not be any trophies, you'll know fairly certain into the game. You'll be like, well, actually, my dart might be able to pick up 3, maybe even 4 kills now, rather than almost just getting 1 sometimes.
Yeah, very, very true. I think the dart on Fringe especially is probably the best map to use it. You know, using it to break in, get the intro kill into back grannies, because those kills are definitely hard to get, or even going through tracks, that straight hallway, you're bound to pick up at least 1 or 2, no flak, and that turns into a possibility of 3 or 4. So a lot of different things going in, but you're not going to see players running flak, is the whole point of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so as well. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to kind of go through these maps now and pick a score line out. I know it's difficult. I know it's 7 maps, and I know we were wrong last time.
If we can get the maps back up, because there's 7 of them this time, so it's a bit. I mean, looking at the first one, I mean, definitely Splyce. I feel
Definitely Splyce.
I think HyperGames is going to try and ride that momentum. Getting a reverse sweep, that's going to get you a lot of confidence. I expect them to take an early lead in this one, actually. Going to give the advantage to Splyce, though. I think it's going to go very, very close. As far as a scoreline for the first Fringe, I'm going to give it to Splyce, 250 to about 200. I think HyperGames is going to do their best to up the tempo. A lot of pressure to put it on to Splyce. Hopefully, they can waver a bit.
I've just been confirmed. The map is now loading up, by the way. And also, we have had High Caliber has been added. So there's nothing tricky coming in. High Caliber has been added to the Ban and Protect. Okay. Also, the draft has been made, and I can confirm we are looking at a mirror matchup. Active Camo, Tempest, Heatwave, and Kinetic Armor for both teams. So no one really kind of stealing the advantage away in that scenario.
Yeah, I was really excited to see the Sparrow.
Oh, man.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not the most useful specialist when it comes to getting those kills as effectively as like a Scyther or Tempest, but could have been fun to see, I guess. It
could have been funny, and it would have been just the most craziest thing to see in the grand final. When it's all on the line, you go, now is the time for a Sparrow.
This is the time. It's the tactic that nobody knows about.
It would be genuinely amazing, but we're not going to see it. Unfortunately, it's going to be the Tempest, which is the gun of choice. And a lot of these teams now. I want to go over this one last time because I keep speaking to the pros and they're like, it's just so powerful, the Tempest right now. And pretty much every pro team has taken a Tempest. It's been the non-CWL teams that haven't taken it here. Teep, I want you to kind of just reiterate to people why we think the Tempest is better.
So the reason you want to pick a Tempest as your primary lethal specialist is its ease of use. Yes, you can be highly skilled with the Annihilator or the Scythe, for example, but those specialists are a little bit more difficult to use. The reason the Tempest is so useful is you can hip fire. You're more mobile with it. It's much faster once you get the charge up. It's sort of like quick scoping with a sniper, for example. You can get those long range gunfights very, very quickly. And then finally, the chain. No other lethal specialist has that happen. So on tracks, for example, most of the time you'll see the Tempest come out. If you get the intro kill, your other teams can't just flood up right away. If your teammate gets zapped, you have to wait there for a second, like just patiently waiting, like, okay, now I can go. That's very huge when it comes to those tense moments.
I don't think there's anything more upsetting than that, getting chained by a Tempest, because it's basically your own fault. Yeah. If you've run up to it and run through it and gone, oh, I'm okay, I wasn't far enough away. That's kind of bad. All right, well, I think we've broken this one down pretty much as effectively as we could do. I'm going to quickly push you for a very quick prediction on which team's going to win the entire thing. Ton.
Splyce.
Teep.
Splyce.
Right, okay. For one more time for the grand final, I'm going to hand it over to our casters. It's going to be Momo and Jack Dunlop, better known as Courage.
Ow, it took all weekend, but he actually gave me a throw. I love it. Jack Dunlop, a.k.a. Courage.
That works.
Let's get into this grand final. I'm excited, man. Splyce HyperGames to take home the championship of the Gfinity CWL Summer Masters. We're watching Brain, the AR player who's seen his fair share of ups and downs so far today, does lose the first engagement going up against Josh. Now, Momo, you have casted these guys since the beginning of Black Ops 3. You heard the predictions of the analysts. From what you've seen so far, from the map breakdown we saw, who do you favor in this matchup? Who's going to be a key difference maker to take the series to their team?
This matchup, I'm watching Splyce and mainly Josh from Splyce. I want to see him rocking that assault rifle. Let's go back on board with him. Man of War is his preference on the weapon. You know, he's good with an M8. He's great with a HVK, but when he has that in his hands, he can do damaging things. We'll catch up with him a little bit later. As for now, Zed is lighting up his 3-1, and so many people, and I can't stress this enough, have doubted this man, and he is turning up today. Picks up his 5th kill, 4th kill, and here we go. Zed, he has certainly deserved this spot in the grand final. Can he take it all?
If he pushes right through this dark hall, I think he's going to get closer and closer to these streaks. Now 1 kill off of that lightning. Not going to get it done. Wonder if Bance realizes how important of an engagement that was. It just went in his favor. The score currently in favor of Splyce. HyperGames get the kills, though, off the rotation. They will be in control of auto for the moment. Splyce, we've seen so far this weekend, they've had some dominant hard points. They've had some that have gone down to the wire. HyperGames, for the most part, when Zed, when Quicker, their submachine gun players are on point. That's where they see success. It also helps if Brain is in charge of locking down those spawns. 28-25 to score. Splyce retake the lead.
Yeah, this is a really good retake. Hit from rated.
Ooh.
Double kill back-to-back as he finally falls there. But no problem. Josh is here to save the day. He picks up 1 and he will retain this hard point. 20 points left. This is the part where they will start to rotate. Nolson plays 1 there. I don't know if you saw that, Jack. That was from the mid-wall. But Splyce will get the scrap points. HyperGames, they're going to set up now for this rotation onto Grannies.
Now let's see how Josh plays this, because these engagements towards Globe are extremely key. You want to wind up having players push in far enough where you have the guy at Globe stay alive so he blocks that spawn. Your teammates win the engagements, which forces the opponents to spawn across the map. We saw it for a second from Splyce. It does look like, at the moment, Splyce do have control of these back spawns. Brain no longer a factor as he's been cut down. Splyce now doubling the score of HyperGames. You've got Bance in the hard point at 9-6. Rated continuing to stay hot. He's the first player to hit that 12 kill mark. Kinetic armor now earned as well. Splyce, they're reaching that groove, and this is where this team has been scary as a lineup. Once they get comfortable, once they get in the setup they want, they're near impossible to break.
Well, Bance 4-kill streak, 10 kills, double digits now as they break 80 points. He's just been saturating every single point here from Grannies, and you know what? I have no doubt he'll continue to do so. Even with the VMP at long range, he picks up another there. Joe finding 2. And my goodness, Splyce, they have taken everything from Granny Hardpoint here.
Beautifully done. I mean, they break in from back auto. They keep a player wood wall. Bance is apparently firing missiles from his VMP at the moment. Now just 25 off the Cerberus. I want to see him use his kinetic armor. Pop it right now. Go charge on in, but an EMP actually lands, shuts it down instantly. Either way, the damage has been done. Fully streaked out is Bance. You've got an 18-10 start from Joe. HyperGames are being absolutely slaughtered in the start of this one. Tempest now out. There's a 2-piece for Rated. Splyce, everyone making individual plays, and when they do, this team is so good. He is just not missing with the Tempest.
Nope, finally does go down, but Bance will be still in the hard point. Those streaks, I'm sure, will come later on. We'll be sure to watch out for them. But Joe will take the reins now. 19 kills, he's top fragging for his team now, and 13 interactions already. And obviously, taking into account those deaths, he falls. In fact, HyperGames go back-to-back.
Hey.
They need something now. They're suffering right now.
It's about to be a 120-second lead, a full 2 minutes for Splyce. So let's talk about this rotation. What went wrong for HyperGames? One, they had a little bit of a lack in slaying from Zed as well as Quicker. The first 2 hardpoints, they were leading the team. Since then, they have been quiet. It also helps Splyce that they've had 3 players go on 5+ streaks in the last 3 hardpoints. Now Josh is the one beginning to heat up. He was 9-17, now 15-17, 16-17. Brain finally brings out that Tempest to slow down the pace of Splyce for the moment. But either way, the damage has already been done. The lightning now coming in. 3 go down for HyperGames as they get a break into the hardpoint.
Splyce just seemed too strong here. I'm feeling for HyperGames. You know, yes, they're picking up kills. Yes, they're trading. But the points is what they're missing at the moment. And HyperGames, they're just going to break 50 here on the hardpoint. 100 points behind, though. The rotation's going to come in very, very soon. And keep your eye on that mini-map because who is going to get it? It looks like this player is rated. I've highlighted him there on the minimap. He's first to it. Let's hop on board and see what he can do.
And you can see they're not even expecting him to be there, laying down on that off angle. The player who charges into the hard point gets caught off guard. Now the Cerberus brought out by Bance is actually a fantastic hard point to have it in because there's only a few small choke points players can push through. If you have something like a Cerberus to cut down players, Quickers, Kinetic Armor does at least get the job done for the moment. They've gotten 3 dead on Splyce. Heatwave coming into play now. A lot of specialist abilities put into this hard point, and I think at the end it's going to be Splyce on top. And now look, I believe Brain did just have that Black Cell as a secondary. Yeah, he's got an engineer class on right now. They're putting everything into killing this Cerberus. Splyce looking to 100-point club HyperGames in this first game.
And that was a pre-fire kill coming in from Brant. Just want to highlight 19-14, nothing super special, but just to get those streaks are so important. God. And Brant still has these lightning and Hellstorm, but no, he doesn't want it. He's back in his little tank.
He's using this as a rotation tool.
I love it. I absolutely love it. The EMPs are going to come in here, and it will be difficult. He's actually going to fall as well. Let's go on board with someone from HyperGames. It's going to be Zed taking control. He's 14-22 at the moment, not a scoreline we usually see. What's going wrong for him here?
I think right now, well, one, if he's shooting like that's one thing that's going wrong. He just hasn't hit a bullet in the 3 players that challenge. Okay, Zed, there's your answer, right? Some sloppy shots, Splyce break in without batting an eye. That cannot happen on Grannies. It's one where when you get the setup you want, it's quite easy to tell what you need to do. 1 player focuses on tin, 2 watch over middle street, and 1 hangs out by rails. Splyce walk on in, no challenge, 222-62. This is one of the biggest leads we have seen throughout the entire weekend, whether it's CWL versus non-CWL. You wouldn't think this would be HyperGames, the #1 seed, going into the Stage 2 finals. Josh now challenging with the Man of War. This is just, they're just putting on a show. They're looking to end the map right here.
Yeah, this almost feels like the same performance that they put into the Uplink in the last series where they took it 22-0.
Jesus.
We've got another Cerberus going to be landed on the battlefield very shortly, but I doubt it's even going to make it. 246-62. Splyce, like you said, they want him to end it right here, right now.
246-64. Joe now in the hard point. All 4 go down again for the moment on HyperGames. They're looking to close it out here. If you're Splyce, they've regained control, and there's the hype in the booth. 250-64. That was just a complete and utter slaughter from the first hard point to the last. Rated with the Man of War, was not missing on that map. Bance goes big to earn streaks. 2 different Cerberus, like 5 different Hellstorms that come into play. Wow, Splyce showing they are the real deal at the start of this grand final.
Well, let's bring that scoreboard up. We see 28-28, 29-25 for Splyce. I just want to highlight, the slaying, yes, it favors them, but it's not ridiculous.
That's actually the big point that I was just thinking. I was going to count through it. Only a 17 kill difference.
Yeah.
So what does that say about that hard point time? HyperGames, they would get control of the hill. The first push, Splyce would break. Splyce would get control of the hill. HyperGames never had an opportunity to get on in. The ARs were just too strong. And HyperGames get absolutely decimated in map #1. Ooh, if that's how this grand final is going to go, we're going to be getting out here a little bit early tonight. Remember, this is a best of 7, so the opportunity to come back is still there for HyperGames. That is not a fun spot to be in if Splyce are going to be shooting like that.
No, not at all. I want to see them put this aside. I want them to go into the next map. It's a search and destroy. We know what they can do with it. And you need to forget about map 1. It's gone. It's over. You can see the boys in the booth there. Obviously, they're coached by Xylua. They were taken under the wing, and you can see Zed almost hands in his head there. I want to see some confidence going into this next game. Hopefully, we will.
I hope so as well, right? And now you're going into Redwood S&D, wondering if that's exactly what we'll see in this one. Either way, though, I do believe we have the guys on the analyst desk ready to break down that map number 1.
Thank you very much. So, a question. How do you drop morale very, very quickly after a win against Millennium? That.
I mean, we might just see the second half of the France-Iceland game.
I mean, what?
That was very, very fast. I don't even know HG if they knew what happened. But again, I said I was impressed by Splyce in the Fringe in the semifinal. They did the same thing, but even to a bigger degree. And I don't want to say this right away, but no M8, no HG. Is that what the series is going to be about? That was absolutely insane.
Well, I mean, HG have to ban the Man of War. I mean, what was Rated doing with it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I said before, after this game, do they have to change something up? We said maybe the Man of War will be a factor. Turns out it is, and they're going to have to really now rethink their ban and protect to try and claw something back in the next respawn, because they can't have that happen again. I'm sure Xyla right now is going through everything. He's trying to work. He's trying to hype the team up. He's trying to figure out how they do this better.
Yeah, I think it's a way bigger issue than just the weapon itself.
Yeah,
they rotated early to certain hills, but you can rotate early all you want. Splyce just bullies through again and gets so much hill time just for free. I mean, HG couldn't even hold the granny hill. They were so spread out. Their setups were spread out just a little bit too thin, and Splyce just had their way with them.
I mean, it was at every single part. I mean, even though we were saying, like, obviously they were rotating well and Splyce up bullying through, a couple of the shots from Zed were very wayward.
Shaky.
Yeah, really shaky. So I don't know if nerves are just getting to them. Maybe they need to settle into it. I mean, they did go 2-0 down against Millennium. So, I mean, I'm not discounting them completely yet. But on the back of that...
That was their pick as well. We've said this before, Vetoes are in this time. They can't blame the map. They picked the map. So for me, you should... taking a big loss on a map that you have chosen, it almost hurts more. It's got to hurt more.
Kick in the teeth.
It certainly is. So it's going to be the pick next for the Search and Destroy. It is going to be Splyce's pick. Do we think that they take the Search and Destroy as well? Do we see maybe a Millennium versus HyperGames vibe coming in?
I don't know. HG are going to have to try and bounce back as much as possible. I think if they take one of 2 or 3 of the first rounds, I think they're going to be okay. But if Splyce carries this momentum in the Search and Destroy, I think HyperGames might go on tilt a little bit. If you get smashed 2 games in a row, that's when you start to doubt yourself a lot. I don't know if they're going to have enough gas in the tank to speak to make another comeback. It's very draining to do that.
I think what they have to do is sit in that booth and say, right, okay, yeah, we just got battered, but I mean, either way, they did it previously to Millennium. Can they do it to Splyce is the question, but they can take positives from their previous series. Say, right, okay.
I thought you were about to say that map then, because I couldn't.
No, not the map. The series. I mean, again, as you said, they lost the second map to Millennium as well, and they still went on to win the series. They have more leeway because it's the best out of 7. Yeah, maybe clutching.
Can they drag it to the later round? So, I mean, Redwood Search and Destroy is next, and the Ban and Protect has started. Now, Nelson takes out Overkill, and Splyce went, hey, that stock out of here again, please.
Yeah. It's not as big of a factor in the Search and Destroy, though.
No.
It's still just a whole comfort level thing. I think they want to try and keep the same consistency throughout the series. Kinetic being targeted again, trying to take that away from Bantu, who's been so deadly with it. So I kind of like that target from HyperGames, actually.
Then we see a double tack coming once again, and Overclock fairly standard. Double tack this time, not the lethals, and we can see Rapidfire and High Caliber will complete the set. So for me, is there any kind of advantage in this Ban and Protect? Do you think it's gone a little bit differently than the last time? I mean, it is Search and Destroy, so it doesn't have that much relevance compared to the last time, but stock's still taken away.
Yeah, I mean, if you're HyperGames, I mean, as we were saying, we can't just count it all on Ban and Protect that win from Splyce. I think, honestly, it could have been anything, and Splyce would have won that map anyway. So I think HyperGames are probably not trying to look into it too much. I think the stock on this map, as I said, it is comfort zone, but it may not play as much of a part. The M8 is there for HyperGames to use. I feel like I'm clutching at straws for them already, and we're only on map 2.
Well, what we can say is that we have seen the draft come in as well. It's going to be another mirror match. No, it's actually not going to be a mirror match. I was wrong. Vision Pulse or Glitch?
Vision Pulse a lot better for me. You can easily clear out an entire bomb site, and we finally see some better Vision Pulse uses today. Previously in the tournament, I was getting a little bit upset with some of these uses, but today they're doing a lot better. I haven't had to freak out at anyone yet.
Yeah, upset's putting it mildly, Teep, I think, for those of you who are sitting near you in the audience.
Very, very normal, straightforward ban and protect, which I think does favor into Splyce. They are the better team in this series, the higher rated team, and coming out, 200-point lead win in Hardpoint is very, very tough to do as well. So I guess the only thing I would change from the ban and protect is maybe just target that M8 again. HG didn't have it and got whomped. So maybe that'll be the difference maker here. Brain may be back in his comfort zone a little bit, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe, and I think you were right about the Vision Pulse as well, right? Yeah, I mean, Glitch for me is a try again, or if you get in a position where you need to check the bomb, it's a get out of jail free card. Vision Pulse, a lot more versatility. It's using it for your teammates. The only drawback being is that first of all they know you're there or know you're coming, and they know you've got the information, and then you still have to win the gunfight, right? So it's not a press win. It's a press right. Now we know what we've got to do, and the enemy team's going to react, and suddenly it becomes a lot more fluid.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree on that. I think the Glitch, as I said before in one of the previous series, is very niche to be used effectively. Vision Pulse is something you can use effectively at any moment in the game. It's always going to benefit you, because even as long as you use it early and use it at the right time, you can get information from. Even if you don't make the kill, you know where they are.
Yeah,
there's so many positives towards that. Glitch can be flashy, you can pull off an amazing 1v2 to win a round or something, but it's very, very rare we see it used effectively.
Yeah, very true. Glitch is the get out of jail free. Vision is break out of whatever the heck you want. You can break out, like you gain so much information. It's guaranteed information, whereas Glitch is a 50-50 type of thing.
Yeah. Am I going to be faced the right way? Is the angle going to be right? Am I even going to win it still? I'll be that bit damaged. They'll know where I'm going. There's a trail going back to where I'm going as well. So yeah, there are drawbacks for both, but I do like the fact that Vision Pulse may give you a little bit more versatility, and it's probably easier to use effectively.
Yep, pretty much agree with you on that one. So advantage going to go over to the Vision Pulse player. Going to get back into this. Splyce, I expect them to take over. Honestly, I think they're going to come out hot.
All right, well, let's get this one underway and hand it over to our casters. Momo, Courage, please take it away.
I've got Splyce here as well, Teep. They look way too good in game number 1 to not carry the momentum into the second one. You also saw Josh preaching to his teammates, Bance nodding his head. They're all on the same point of how they want to play this. It does look like a middle map / B pressure. Thankfully, on the side of HG, they do finally get a first blood in their favor.
Okay, well, it's already a 3 versus 3. Just want to highlight, did have a quick look. Nolson is rocking the PO6, the only sniper on the battlefield at the moment, but looks like a bit of a change up. Joe heading over to the A site, bring that mini-map up. Nobody here is defending it, and this is looking very good for Splyce. One thing I always say, Jack, is the retake of A seems to be so difficult. Oh, that may help. Ooh. Let's go on board with Nolson.
He also sees him right inside the close building. I don't like that challenge at all from Josh. You have the bomb planted. There's no reason to just keep playing from that one angle. 3 versus 1 rated everything against them, and I think the play call's already been made from HyperGames. Makes a lot of sense. Round 1 going to go to HyperGames after a couple questionable challenges from Splyce.
Okay, well, I just said how hard it is to retake the A bomb site. The way you break it is send a wild Nolson in with the PO6 picking off 1. And this second kill, actually, I'm unsure about the positioning of the player when they're at a 2 versus 3. I would have liked them maybe to back off. Maybe it was the timing of that first initial kill, but HyperGames, they answer back.
Play the trees, fall back. Yep. Play the close tree, play that top middle tree, force them to push out of that A building instead of bringing the action to them. Josh, even if he gets the kill there, easily traded out.
Fast mags on a PO6. What do you make of that one, Jack?
Oh, well, I mean, what? stock not a play. Maybe it's what you kind of replace that with. Get a quicker reload for yourself. Is going to see 2 crossing middle, so this could be potentially first blood. Instead, nope. They'll know where Nolson is now. The bomb is going down. It's going to be a 4v4 retake. Let's see if HG have a better job this time around. And again, it's an aggressive peek that's just not needed.
Okay, well, Zed holding down the trees like You said courage. Rated already picking up another one, 2 versus 4. Very, very hard. Nolson looks like he's coming up, but it's all down to Zed. He's picked up one. He'd need a clean ace, and hello. Trying a bit of a sneaky round the trees. He's going to find another, but with 25 seconds, this is looking ever so more possible as time goes on.
Well, certainly is. He is going to have to check this site at some point. Nothing as of yet. Peaks for a moment. Kill comes in. So twice now, teams have taken the A site and planted in an even number scenario.
Yep.
And twice, the kills that come in favor of the team retaking are 2 players who peak when they don't need to be towards that A building. Probably going to learn from it from here on out. Want to see these teams adapt. Stop making those small mistakes. If you're going to have players left triggering where they are, so you're not going to win those gunfights.
Yeah, we saw in that one, just to kind of go back, Nolson, he saw 2 crossing. He should have called that one out, which I'm sure he did. That's when they get the bomb down and just fall back. Nolson had that flank already.
Yep.
That first pick, very, very vital. Maybe we'll see a switch up and going back on board with Splyce on the attack now. Rated's going to be that bomb carrier. Bance, let's see what he's up to. 0 and 2 at the moment. Let's give him a bit of love and see what he can do.
And there's a specific timing where you're going to have your player in bunker go watch something like a flank. And I do believe Bance is going to be the one. Nice first blood. Got to play his life as there's more pressure coming in. Joe's got his back. Oh.
That's Call of Duty
That
timing
was the
right there.
best timing in the world. Thankfully for Joe, he was still watching that backside, so he is able to get one. 4 versus 2. Bomb is down. They know where one of the players are. Now they spot the second. Somehow Joe beats Nolson.
No.
And he lets them know about it as well. 1 versus 3. Joe gets 3 that round. And Splyce, after, in my opinion, they throw away round 1. They've now taken 2 in a row, and oh, he gets a seat in the kill cam as well, as if once wasn't bad enough.
Yeah, and not only picking up 3, 2 in the kill cam. A kill he maybe shouldn't have got, but yeah. That was very impressive from Joe. Nice plays going in round number 3 there. We're going to hop on board at round number 4. HyperGames will be back on the attack. Nothing really coming of it yet. No team kind of separating them from the pack. But here we will go. Anyone you want to particularly watch here? Is Nolson still sniping? No.
No. And I think he's been doing a majority of defensive sniping on this map whenever it's brought out. It's a 4-hit middle from both sides. Zed able to clean up 2. He'll go to look for more. They do know 1 is still watching over middle cut. This looks like a HyperGames round win as long as they can just trade efficiently.
Well, Zed is in a very powerful position, almost in the enemy base. He's going to find a 3rd. This could be a clean ace for Zed here, unless Bance can change things. He's been spotted. I'm going to stay on board with Zed. He's not going to go as Bance does pick up 1, traded out. Not the ace, but 3 kills nevertheless. Zed should be happy with that one.
So I'm wondering if Zed just flew out of bunker or if he hit the high wall run on those middle trees to get those first couple kills. Either way, it's a perfect start, right? As we mentioned, this map at times, you just have 4-hit middle. It reminds me a lot of like Breach, where both teams just flood at each other, and the team that comes out on top is the team that comes out on top. It's simply shooting more efficiently and calling out where the opponents are coming from.
Call of Duty 101 right there.
Yep.
But round number 5, Rated will be taking that bomb, that objective player here. The decisions now is, you know, simple. A or B, where are you going? Do you do the same as HyperGames and just go for the kills? So far, it doesn't sound like it, but I can hear that PO6, and so can Joe. He is out of there. He doesn't want to peek anything, but...
Well, the thing he's more actually scared about is the guy going for that high wall run on the backside. Look, yeah, Zed just flew out from the back tree and picked Rated off the site.
Zed, and that was a headshot as well. That's a very important pick, because what it does do is it puts the bomb in a very difficult position. It didn't go down. They can't defend it now. First specialist is on the field, and let's just go back on board. Was it Zed who was doing that? Yeah, he's not going to be doing that.
What did he have? What weapon? Was that an M8? Yeah, okay, so he got a 1-burst headshot. That's why I was able to clean him up so easily off that wall run. Typically, it's a sniper who does that challenge because you need a fast kill speed. What's another thing that gives you a fast kill speed? A 1-burst headshot with an M8. Zed still checking towards this site. Hasn't spotted a player as of yet. 28 seconds remaining. Brain challenging top bridge. They've got to begin to get the action going. Kills being traded. Splyce is falling back from the site for the moment. I do believe he sees the movement in the water, so he's got to know there's a player close up. 1 person on the site, gonna have to back off. All that he needed to do is check this one final time, and I do think it's going to happen. Brain kills 1. Bance, with the perfect timing on the other, will go ahead and give Splyce that round victory.
The one thing I do want to say is HyperGames did the right thing there, and maybe listen to T-Pats. On the analyst desk, he's been saying about 5 times this weekend, do not try and retake from bottom B.
Yep.
It's simple, and they didn't. Redwood, it's a very difficult map, but when that B bomb goes down, you cannot just slide out the door just to the right here. Bance obviously doing that for the defense and picking up that kill.
I think what's more important too is they did send 1 player out that bottom side, but they did it to immediately get a trade, and that's what they did. They made it a 2-on-2. The issue at the end is that Bance plays sneaky. He goes in towards top window. re-gets control of that satellite control room, and then just slides out to the bomb to kill the diffuser, or kill the planter, or yeah, the diffuser, sorry. As Quicker will go ahead, overdrive right towards top bridge. He spotted players middle map, and oh, it's a terrible timing. Josh is ready for it.
Well, answered back by Brain. Nelson's also going to pick up one. Brain taking fire. He's going to go down, actually. And now, battle in the water. We've got a water fight going on. Bance left in a 1 versus 2. This round seems to have been over way too quick. Bance has seen him tagged up, but he's taken damage. Now, a 1 versus 1. Nelson, what does he have? He has the RK5. He's got this PO6, which has been kitted out. I'll tell you that. Fastmax, FMJ, and Thermal. Bance, on the other hand, though, he's backing off. He knows that he can't take those long gun fights.
God, he's got an idea that bomb's down too, right? I think he just saw it right there. So if he didn't earlier, now he could play off of it. 40 seconds left. Nelson still searching. Any little bit of information he could possibly get can win him this round. It does look like he's pushing towards the right area, but Bance immediately shuts him down. 4-2, Splyce now 2 rounds in the lead.
Okay, so Splyce making a bit of a gap for themselves here. A lifeline, if you like.
Yep.
Bance creating that grip, quick draw, ELO, Man of War, his favorite by far.
And what did we see earlier today? Bance going big in the search and destroy for Splyce.
We did,
Here
yes.
again, now clutches a 1 versus 2. I'm more and more impressed every time I watch him play.
Well, let's go on board with Bance and see what he's up to. HCXD is available. 30 bullets in the clip, and he's off through middle map and taking the high ground here. I believe that's Nelson jumping up and down. Quicker's got the early first blood. And where was Quicker, actually? Quicker, he's just below the bunker here, just to let you know. Josh is going to take him out, so clearing that middle map for Bance just to push through. When does this HCXD come into play, though? That is the question. Bance, very aggressive.
What was that? I think he was worried about the player, like, high wall running above him. Bance will get EMP'd middle. Josh going to have to challenge. Snaps onto the second. 1 versus 1. Bance, Brain, and you just saw Bance gets an idea of where he's at, chases down the kill. 3 1-on-1 scenarios that Bance has clutched up, gives Splyce a 5-2 round lead.
I'm still a big fan of, even though they're in different booths, they can't see each other. Joe covering his mouth there when he communicates with his teammate out of habit. Bance, though, takes that round once again. I mean, you highlighted it there. 1v1s, you know, yes, that one wasn't, you know, the hardest shooting them in the back, but he just seems to clutch up, puts himself in the right position.
Yep.
And this potentially is the last round. 5-2, bit of a stomping so far. HyperGames, though, back on the attack. Brain, glitch in hand.
They're going to go ahead and correctly guess which site will be open this time around. Splyce, I think they took the mindset of, oh man, HyperGames, they're just going to get risky. They're going to try anything they could possibly get, and thought maybe a 4-man A hit was coming. Especially with that first kill, they're going to go ahead and plant 4 inside satellite and just play from that back area. All signs pointing towards a HyperGames round win.
Yeah, this should be theirs. If they don't, it's a bit of a choke on their behalf. Numerical advantage going in favor. 30 seconds, though. Josh looking for the flank. He's just kind of closing off middle map. Rated. Looks like he's hopped on it. Joe just with the protection. Bodyguard Joe as Zed comes in. He's going to fall, and the bomb was not defused. Almost impossible position here for Josh. 1 versus 4, 17 seconds. Has to defuse as well. Even though your RK5's on fire, don't think he's got the time to do so.
Josh 9-6 in this one. He'll try to challenge the third. Not going to happen. 5-3. HyperGames do stay alive, and why is it possible? They solo pick the one guy who was watching middle map. They get that first blood, they plant right away before any sort of flank can come in, and they correctly read the play from Splyce. When they see nobody else middle map or B, they recognize, oh, they're pushing through A. They plant for inside satellite. Instead of falling back to bridge, they push on through. They kind of forced a terrible spot for Splyce to be in. Now Splyce on offense, I want to see an A play with this active camo. Simple as that.
100% agree with you. I want him to be leading the pack. Joe obviously going high, maybe on the trees.
With how this is developing, unless this player has Heatwave around the corner, this round is over.
Well, camo has been popped, and here we go. Glitch has just been used. He doesn't have a clue where he is. That is going to come in for the trade. Now a 2 versus 2. 4 players down.
Josh has a player just to his left. He spins, can't get the kill. Oh no, Josh nearly has the 1-on-1 to make it a 2v1 scenario. Rated silver lining after all that's happened, after all the specialists that have been used, still has the bomb ready to go, and he'll earn Heatwave off of this.
Nelson has camo, just want to highlight there, but I'm going to stay on board with Rated. It isn't a 1 versus 2. 40 seconds now to defend. What's his play? He's unlocked Heatwave. He's on a 3-kill streak. Just taking his time. Oh, and he's going for the play, so no one was defusing it. Has he spotted that one player top house?
Nothing as of yet. Peek towards middle, has been spotted, wins the one-on-one. Player close, heat wave not gonna happen. And I saw Raided's instant reaction. He goes to turn that corner and unfortunately doesn't get eyes on the player. So typically in that scenario, Raided knows exactly what he has to do, right? He's a smart player. You challenge that, you heat wave right away, you win on one-on-one. Unfortunately, just as Raided goes to swing to his right to check the site, there's this perfect timing for Zed. And look,
that
you just see, as he turns, it's kind of, everyone's experienced it in COD, right? Your sensitivity's so high that you just miss the player when spinning and doesn't even get a chance to pop off his heat wave. 2 straight rounds for HyperGames, now back within 1.
Big clutch for Zed, though. Do want to highlight there. That was against all odds with that heat wave in play. But let's go on board. Now, Zed actually 12 kills. He is 100 away from a lightning strike. I just want to bear in mind, it was 5-2 to Splyce. Who is leading the pack? It's Nolson. He is literally
they're going for it all.
Yeah, they're copying that last round. Identical.
This should be first blood. Actually, no, it's a smart play from Splyce. They will fall back right away. They've got to know Brain is somewhere to get this kill with the HC. Unfortunately, all they do is weaken him. First blood for Josh as they follow up that car.
Yeah, we've got players on the flank. The pinch is coming in. It feels like HyperGames are trapped. This could be game over. Josh is ready to come around the corner.
Still,
Zed's in a HC car.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this. Vision Pulse has just been popped. Zed's going to see one.
He blows it up on his teammate. 1 versus, oh no, that's it. No, it's all over.
Done.
It's done. It's simple as that. Splyce take the round in the game, 6-4. I was basically saying, oh, okay, yeah, this will, but nope. All 3 of them die in the exact same moment. 12-8 from Josh. He continues to impress today.
Yeah, Josh definitely one to watch. A veteran of the scene. He's been here in many grand finals. Maybe not alongside this squad. However, he's been here time and time again. Joe. And Rated as well, really impressed me alongside Vance. A real team effort there, but you highlighted Josh, and that's the reason why 12-8, 1 plant, 2 defuses, 1,700 score.
Quicker gets 4 plants to his name. HyperGames did a great job on offensive getting to the site. They just struggled to hold it. Half the time they planted it, it wound up getting defused, and that will put a 2-0 map count lead in favor of Splyce. You see the players there quickly heading out to the restroom as we'll go ahead and prepare for this map number 3. For now, though, to give their thoughts on that close search and destroy, it's Bryce and the boys.
Thank you very much. Another win for Splyce, but not quite as dominating. All right, let's start breaking that one down. Splyce, they look pretty handy to begin with, but again, HyperGames started rallying back.
Very good team pushes from both teams. Very good job at narrowing it down to like a 2v2 and 1v1 situation from either side. The difference maker is Splyce was able to take multiple 1v1 situations. Some of them were a little bit timing based. Luck can come into it at times, but I feel like Splyce had an overall more decisive nature in most of those rounds and were pushing more aggressive than HyperGames was.
I mean, I didn't see Bance lose a 1v1 either. I mean, that's...
It's not the 1v1s that interest me. How many times has Bance clutched a 1v2 this tournament?
A lot.
I feel like it's abnormally high.
Yeah.
Like so many games, just so many search destroys for Splyce has had a Bance 1v2. Like, maybe 1 or 2 a tournament. Not consistently doing it in almost every search and destroy that he plays in.
Yeah,
First of all, it's not fair.
Not fair at all. The fact that he's able to pull off these sort of plays so many times is so impressive, and is the reason why we regard Splyce as one of the best teams in the world, right? Yeah. The fact that he's done it so many times is so hard to replicate. The biggest thing, though, is that was do or die, in my opinion, for this HyperGames squad. I don't think they're going to be able to perform the same sort of reverse sweep we saw against Millennium. Yes, we're only 2 maps in, I understand. But this infection coming up, Splyce beat Dexerto 22-0. Did people watch that?
They did.
That was insane.
They did. But HyperGames went, still got to pick the map. Hey, look, if you can see a team beat another team, another big team, 22-0, and go, still want to play on that? Hey, I'm not going to credit you up. If you're going to say that, then I'm going to be all right. You know what? Maybe they know something we don't.
Well,
Fringe, they got 64 points.
They did. And I'll tell you what, something that we are going to see here. It's that stock is going to be the first or second. It's going to come in so fast.
Yeah.
And I imagine right now HyperGames are going to try and protect as quickly as possible. Splyce are going to try and ban. I think we're going to see a race for it.
Yeah, I mean, they need that. Do you think the Mana was a worthy ban?
I don't know. I would really like to see Splyce target the M8 again. It worked out really well for them in map number 1. But if you are HyperGames, I think you have to take that out. You're getting outperformed so heavily. You got to do it. It's do or die.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose the stock, if they lose the M8, the Man of War has to go. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you see, they lost by nearly 200 points on the Hardpoint. The S&D, it's not as much of a factor, I suppose, but still, I think you have to look at that. And then the result that, I mean, Dexerto had against them on Infection Uplink as well, they have to just try and do something different, or this is going to be, I suspect, another massacre like it was against Dexerto. It literally could be that bad.
Playing devil's advocate here. Just an hour and a half ago, very similar scenario actually was happening. I did have a ginger friend and a Frenchman, and it was slightly different on the desk, but we were saying the same things. Dominating performance from Millennium in the Hardpoint. HyperGames did come back in that case, slightly different. Again, Search and Destroy, we're Millennium's way, and we're going, it's Millennium against HyperGames, it's all done and dusted. Are we beating that path again?
I mean, I think you can the only difference is the thing is when they played Millennium, obviously it was a closer Hardpoint eventually. When things changed, if HyperGames can change something, maybe they can get back into this. I think they lose this map irrelevant. At this moment in time, if they can win the CTF, because they looked nice in CTF before, that's a fact. If they can get, well, obviously they're getting to the CTF. If they can take that CTF, it's a glimmer of hope. But even looking at the rest of the game modes, though, I mean, they're losing on all the rest of them. Even to win the CTF, they've got to battle through another 3 maps.
Yes, they do. Yes. Best of 7, Vito's all the way. A nice middle of the road. We can always tell, but I don't know. I mean, this is now their pick, and again, for me, 22-0, like.
That's insane.
I mean,
I would love to have been a fly on the wall when they were deciding what map to play and be like,
did they watch that? I don't know.
I mean,
did they even bring it up?
I don't know. Maybe not. But the biggest thing here is, I guess you can't completely count out HyperGames here.
No.
I talked about how some of these coastal range maps might turn more into their favor. Double breach. They're going to get one of those breaches to start off CTF no matter what. That is the 4th map in the series. But going down 3-0, it's going to be too much. I don't know if they're going to have enough to bring it back again. Millennium team, yes, they made the reverse sweep happen. Millennium's been a team that's struggling. Splyce, I guess not so much.
Poor end of season 2, but I mean, this weekend, absolutely not. So, I agree with you on this. There's no way. If they lose this map, which I think they will, there is not... Actually, I'm not going to say a hope in hell, because, I mean, we've seen them do a reverse sweep anyway. Band and Protect comes in, look at that.
There it is. They go, oh, we'll take the M8 out. Well, Brain goes, woohoo! Stock is in.
Watch the Mana Wall go.
Afterburner has been taken away. Do you think we're going to see that? I think that's what, well, it's actually Radiant's pick. So that Afterburner was taken away. Who was that Afterburner taken away from? If our casters can take a little look for us.
Quicker took it out. Okay.
Quicker.
I kind of like that, trying to slow the game down, I guess. Making the ones more difficult is the biggest thing on Uplink with Afterburner,
Well,
not necessarily pace.
I'm going to theory craft with that one because this HyperGames team has suffered with ones on this map. So maybe they're like, if we can't make ones, neither can you. We're going to make 2s and
Even
be
the
okay
playing
with it.
field, I guess. But if you're that bad at ones with Afterburner, it makes it even harder. I don't know if they're going to miss even more.
It's a very heavy 1-point oriented map as well, you know, where you can try and get those little picks without having so much control. And
So I don't know how much you guys have seen HyperGames on this map, but for me, the way HyperGames play this map is they just batter the other team in submission. We are talking super heavy slaying to get those points in. They don't always go, a lot of teams, you know, they'll set up, they'll try and get the easy ones off and try to kind of drum up a score that way. Not so much for HyperGames. I have seen them pin teams in their spawn and just continuously slay until they can get a point in. And I've seen them do it to several teams.
they got 64 or 65 points on the Hardpoint. The slaying is an issue against Splyce.
It might be, it might have been, but I've seen them do it.
that was sort of Dexerto's problem in the last series against Splyce, for example. Really not much pressure. They didn't get past the middle of the map very often. If you're able to get those 1 or 2 players to flank back around, get Granny control, get Church control, that's where they have some success. But Splyce was so scary on this one. They had so much control at middle map, largely due to how well Josh and Rated have been playing. Honestly, you know, getting the B steps, you can play as fast as you want. If you're fighting against Josh or Rated at those power spots, again, you're gonna get slaughtered. You need the aggression, don't get me wrong, but you need your patience at times as well. If the other team has the control, you need to slow a way down.
Yeah, I think so as well. And like I said, getting that afterburn, is kind of curious that actually came in the end for me. And I think the whole theory crafting we did with it was, I would have actually expected more from Splyce, to be perfectly honest with you. But they took it away. I think that's going a little bit in their favor. They got their stock in finally, so maybe the slaying will be a little bit different in this because of the stock.
They've got the stock in, but so have Splyce. I mean, you know, it's there for them to use and abuse as well. You know, they can get in the position where they can be faster with it, and Splyce are, in my opinion, a better slaying team than HyperGames. So if anything, it's not really going to make much of a difference. Basically, Man of Wars versus Man of Wars we're going to see on this Infection, and we all saw what happened on map number 1 when that battle was going down. Yes, stock is coming to play this time, but Man of War is one of the least useful with stock, in my opinion. The bullet damage per bullet is so high on the Man of War, it doesn't really, you don't need to strafe that much. You just kind of hop around and melt people off of wherever their position is at. In this Banner Protect, I give the advantage to Splyce again. They got rid of the M8. And are we going to see like no M8, no HG? We saw at map number 1. They weren't comfortable at all. They couldn't hold anything. I'm scared for the guys at HG. Yeah, I mean, it is a scary prospect, especially after we've seen the first map with the Man of Wars, and then we see what they did to Dexerto, what Splyce did to Dexerto, of course. It doesn't paint a pretty picture.
I don't know. I think that's not coming back in. Evens it up just a little bit for me. A little bit more for me. I think you're right. We are going to see some Man of War battles go down here, but stock maybe coming in, maybe evens up a little bit more. Just to quickly touch on the specialist draft, it is going to be a mirror matchup. Double Lethal is coming in, as well as Kinetic and Heatwave. So for me, yeah, pretty standard actually coming in for an uplink with all those in. You don't see anything too ordinary here. I do like the lethals on this map actually, especially considering the setup you can get with them as well, and try to get maybe a relay or two on, hold mid cut and try and keep overextending. We'll see whether or not it actually pans out here. These two teams, heavy slaying teams, so I expect maybe to see it at least once.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be all about that graveyard and right side alley control, depending on which side you're spawning on. I feel like, you know, the sub pressure from HyperGames needs to be there. You need to see a big game from Zed, especially. It's got to come out here.
It certainly does. Well, it's time to kick this game off. Over to our casting duo, Momo and Courage. Take it away.
All right, we're getting to the game, but before anybody yells at me, it's Momo who messed up the thing with the team names. CDP is obviously Splyce, Black Ops, HyperGames. I'm sorry, man. I had to throw you under the bus. I can't make the Europeans more upset than I already have this weekend.
While you're describing that, Joey's already going for a 1-point play. It's looking good. It goes for the bounce, and there we go. It's in the first 20 seconds. Swiftly taking everyone's attention away from that mistake, which is brilliant. Thank you very much, Joe. But Bance is actually setting up for the relay here, and it looks pretty good.
Well, he's so far pushed up, but yeah, they don't have the drone controlled yet, so he's now going to realize, okay, I need to actually fall back. He's going to re-push back through the broken hallway to now contest middle map, and after all that, Zed actually just cuts him down. So it was a nice positioning off the break for the side of Splyce, and instead they're now fighting from the back foot as Zed is pushing up with the drone.
Okay, well, Zed picks it up, drops it very shortly after as he's taken down another falls. And the score remains at 1-0. Who's going to pick that up is none other than Bance. He doesn't really have the support at the moment. He's trying to regroup. He's actually going to find an opponent. Pops that uplink drone down, just pick up a kill. Casual stuff for Bance. So the guys on the desk there analyzing his 1v1s, his 1v2s. Really performing well today.
He's going to go ahead, grab that drone, rotate it back towards middle map, and maybe even push the snow street with it, which this is a nice little play. Keep it active, keep your opponents guessing, and here's another example, right? Keep your opponents guessing. Immediately turns back around. He'll pass it forward to Rated. Rated now moving up with the objective. He'll settle for the 2-0 lead for the side of Splyce.
Yeah, unfortunate there with the interception as it doesn't go down. I'm going to stay on board with Josh, though, as he now has the job to defend this middle map. 5-2 for him so far. 3 minutes left on the clock, and he doesn't seem that under pressure. You know, 3 of his teammates go down, not much pressure. He just kind of holds it off, and Joe and Bance pick up the kills. Splyce, it's just business as usual right now.
Yeah, he knew how important it was for him to stay alive. Josh is not a stupid player by any means. Rated now with this drone. He's got a cover of one teammate. There's the throw, 3-0. Splyce settling for ones, but it's the right play. Again, so far, the theme of this weekend, the team that hits their ones, but also doesn't get overly greedy on some of these maps will wind up taking the uplink. And obviously, Splyce doing a fantastic job of it here. Band's playing this close corner. Nice headshot on the brain as he's clearing out the lane for his opponent. And this should be rated, potentially going for another one.
Yeah, he's just going to get rid of it.
That's a tree.
Yeah, I don't think he was playing the point. I think he was just almost just biding his time. And Rated actually starting off very, very slow. 1-7, not really affecting the score of the game at the moment, as it is still 3-0. HyperGames yet to score. And like the guys on the desk again said, the last time they played it was 22-0. So far, well, if you're totaling it up, 25-0 on this map alone. And it looks like they're just trying to extend it.
It's going to be 26 in 3 more seconds as Rated will go ahead. Hit another easy one, 4-0. He's 1-8, but hey, when you're getting points on the board, when your team is continually putting on pressure, you're in an okay spot. And obviously his teammates pulling the weight that he might not be off the start of this map. HC now from Zed as they're looking to get anything they can on the side of HyperGames going. 3 minutes into this game and they've yet to even pick up the drone.
Yeah, this is all one way here. And Splyce, so far, minute by minute as it goes down, they're happy just to continue extending it by one at a time. You know, they're not making dunks, they're not making flashy plays, they're just going for ones. And
there's another.
There's another.
And the reason why they've been able to keep this one pressure on is because while the one is going in, they still have an AR or a sub in middle map. There's Josh getting 2 more kills. So HyperGames can't get anywhere up towards middle, towards that B site. And it's got to be so frustrating to play when you're facing such an experienced and strong Splyce team.
Rated missing the window there. Is it round number 2? He tried it, but that's going to come and bite him back in the bum as a minute is left on the clock. And Quicker gets a couple of kills. Is this the first kind of play we're going to see here? The drone's going to be flying over to Quicker, but he's already pushed up. He's into Graveyard. He's used Kinetic. He's not found anything with it. I really am unsure about this play.
I mean, he expected players to be here. Unfortunately, he pushed through, and Brain did a great job of just letting him walk right on by. And there you see Joe. Punish him for it. They'll just continue to push right up the map before go dead again. There's the Man of War pushing on in. Joe with 2. Joe with not going to get the 3rd. Either way, you've got Bance with kinetic armor. This should be another one to put it at 6-0.
Yeah, and again, it's just another
okay, he missed that.
0-point play.
Yeah, he missed that.
I don't know. I can't really give him a hard time for it. It's probably an unforgivable miss in any other circumstance, but they're so dominant at the moment, I can't really give him too much of a hard time.
I will, because that's a throw you got to hit every single time.
It was literally a very easy throw. Maybe took his eye off the screen for a second, but it's going to go into the half, 5-0. The last game they played was 22-0 on this map. Why did they pick it? Why did it?
I really, that's that. For all the map videos we've seen today, this might have been the worst selection of all because Splyce, not once did they feel threatened that they were about to be scored on right there. Not a single time.
Nope.
The closest the drone moved up the map was about a minute into the game when Zed got it to the front tank. He was instantly killed, didn't get close to getting a throw. What does that say about where HyperGames currently stand in this hardpoint, in this uplink?
Well, so far, it's not very good for the boys on HyperGames. Uplink has not been kind of their strong suit in this tournament in general, but in a grand final, you need to be performing at the highest level. So far, it is very one-sided. Quicker's going to pick up the drone. Brain's going to find himself a kill as well, but Nolson falling short. He's going to fall as well in this drone now. Left in a bit of a 2v2 situation. Now 1 versus 1 as people start to respawn. It's just going no further.
Yep.
It really isn't.
And Joe is doing what he could to fight for middle map. Right now, it's Splyce playing a little bit more on the back foot, and when we talk about best opportunities to score so far, this might as well just be it if you're on the side of HyperGames. You've now brought out Brain's Tempest. You've got Quicker, who was at the front tank, unfortunately loses another one-on-one, so instead of getting 3 dead every time these guys are pushing up, they're getting like 1, they're getting 2, but they're not chaining together those final couple kills they need. Both Tempest weapons now out for the 2 teams. You've now got Rated pushing up with his Tempest still readily available. Scythe now ready for Nolson as he'll stop the pressure for the moment. Rated's got to wait for his teammates to at least clean out 1 or 2 before he can make a move with the drone.
Where is he going, though? He's going to just get rid of that drone. He's trying to just Get an eye to see whether one player is behind that, but Josh has already cleaned up 2 middle map. He said, come this way. It's clear. Bance picks up 1, and actually, what they could go for is a 2-point play.
This will be a dunk. Simple as that. He'll go ahead flying up. Oh, nope. Not when Heatwave is in play. That's the only thing that could have stopped that from being a dunk. Beautifully done. They'll immediately reset that drone, but still, yes, they can play defense all they want, but when you're down by 3 possessions and you haven't gotten close to scoring once, that's going to be your bigger worry here.
And, you know, the previous game as well, you know, that team was exactly the same. They weren't even getting past that kind of last quarter, if you like. Zed, though, has the mana wall, picks up 1, his HCXD, as you do find himself on a 3-kill streak. Nolson's on a 2.
Across the map. Brain gets Heatwaved for the throw. No! Josh steps right in, says, not today, my friend. 3 minutes left. It's been 7 minutes of scoreless uplink gameplay. I mean, how flustered must you be as a team right now, Momo, as everything you've tried to do on this map has just not worked?
Yeah, how frustrated must you be as well? You sat here in a grand final, you're 2-0 down in games, you're 5-0 down in this. How do you come back from this? The composure level that needs to be in the HyperGames booth right now is incredible. At the moment, though, it's not going very well. That drone is going to be just in limbo as the boys at HyperGames are trying to surround it, put the first point on the board.
If there's a silver lining, it's that they can definitely still come back. They can come back in this game until there's about a minute left. And they're going to go ahead, push up for the 1. The throw is off. There you go. He's on the board, and now they're going to keep the pressure on.
Okay, well, only Joe stands between them, and he's actually under gunfire as well.
Nicely
done,
Joe.
And that is going to help his team get a lot more map control. Josh is on the full flank here as Rated just comes through checkers, and another kill comes in. I just want to highlight 3 plays from Splyce are all using the mana wall.
Yeah, I said I'm surprised it's even being left in play. We saw earlier today the strengths of some of the players on Millennium when it was used.
Ouch.
There, another missed one from Bance. That's now 2 botched throws in this game alone, as it's going to still remain a 2-possession game with a minute and a half left. Maybe you get a couple good specialist uses. You get 3 dead on Splyce, and that's where your scoring opportunities will arise. I say that, but it hasn't happened once this game if you're on the side of HG, and that's the frustrating part for me. That's what it's tough to watch right now is so many of these one-on-one engagements, they just keep losing middle map, and they're not able to develop any map pressure.
Well, looks like the drone is heading over to the outside. The lightning strike's going to come in from Zed and take down just 1. Let's hop on board with Joe, because he's the man with the drone in his hand. He's just taking cover behind the rock, and actually, he's going for a low wall run. He's just doing this so he's out of sight from any players that may be challenging him. However, that's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. I was thinking, you can't make that.
So that wall run right there can be a little bit kind of fluky, where sometimes you'll wind up hitting it, you'll hit that sweet spot. Sometimes you won't, especially right below that back building. Brain winning the engagement versus Bance inside Broken. 45 seconds left. All the kills need to streamline in favor of HG. It's simple as that. They'll at least get a 1 to bring it to 5-2.
And
they have players in middle map. They've used their Hellstorm as well. Bance now looking to stop this push from HyperGames. Brain still leading the charge. This could potentially be a dunk if they can pick up 1 more kill. Doesn't seem like it will happen. So 1 final push. That's it to tie up the game with 20 seconds left.
Yeah, Quick is the one leading the pack, but who's picking up the drone? It's none other than Zed. They need to push now. You don't need to be too feisty right now. 18 seconds is a long time, but they need to make a move.
They need to go.
Yeah, Splyce are almost just setting up on defense here. They're happy for them to play for a 1, 7 seconds. This is not helping anyone. You can't climb through the window. I don't think they've even got time.
He's going to try to push for the portal. Not going to happen. Splyce take map number 3, 5-3, and are now 1 map away from being your Gfinity CWL Summer Master champions, as they are just walking right over their opponents in this series.
Well, again, I look at that scoreboard. Rated, he's negative, what is that, nearly 10. We've got Bance, 17 and 21. Joe and Josh doing work. In fact, the Slain actually probably favors.
It does favor them.
And all in all, I think that was a very dominating performance. Even though it was 5-3,
yeah,
it was one-sided in a sense. But HyperGames putting up a fight.
Solid stuff from Splyce yet again. Guys, is this the end of the Summer Masters? Give me your thoughts.
Thank you very much, and it is looking that way, but a much more even game. I thought when it was 5-0, I was about to say, HyperGames, do you understand how the veto system works? You don't give them a good map. But you know what? Actually a lot closer, and the slaying was in favor of HyperGames.
I have a lot to say on this map. The score wasn't that far out of line, but Splyce played that not like 10 times better than HyperGames did. You always have drone control at middle. The middle map percentage has to be like 90% in the Splyce's favor. You saw on that first side, if they got the kills, they just progressed the drone up and got the one off. And if they didn't, if HyperGames was playing slow, they simply wrapped the ball to the left, and HG would spawn up in the opportune spot and be like, have to wrap back to left again. It happened so many times, and that's why they weren't even able to get close to a score. Give props to Rated on that one. He knew every single time, and it's him on the communication. Yeah. He's the one setting up that wrap or the push, depending on the situation. Masterful play from Splyce.
I mean, it just goes to show how well they played that when towards the end, the slaying got caught up as HyperGames did actually push on. Splyce for getting more kills. But HyperGames were in the lead in the slaying department throughout the game, yet they didn't have a point until about a minute and a half remaining. I mean, that just shows how well Splyce did actually play that game.
Yeah, I think so. And all right, let's talk about this now. Man of War, get rid of it.
Just ban
you have to. If you're HyperGames and you don't ban that in the next one,
just ban it. Just get rid of it
first.
It may even be more important than stock at this point.
Yeah, it is. 100%.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it's what I said about stock. I mean, Splyce have still got stock to use themselves. They can still use it just as well as HyperGames, clearly. But Splyce can use the Man of War better than HyperGames, so what do? You ban the Man of War.
Quite simple, it seems.
I want to see both. I want to see the Man of War, and in fairness, the problem is Rated with the HVK is actually really, really nice as well. So maybe, well, there we go. Right away, we are going to see the M8 go. No protect for the stock this time, though. There we go. It's been banned out now. I feel like they're giving this to Splyce.
Let's see.
If they don't ban the Man of War here, I'm going to be very upset.
They're not going to. They're not
I mean,
who does the stock ban come from?
That was also Splyce. If our casters could just quickly shuffle over.
Pay attention.
There we go. We see them all as they rapidly go through. Rated took that as well.
Splyce gets exactly what they want again.
They're not helping them. So, what did we say on day one? That the lower teams were going up against really strong teams, and they would just stand and pick and pack. You've lost 3 maps in a row. All right, okay, guys. So this isn't going very, very well at all. Should we change anything? No, it's fine.
There's another way to put this as well, by the way. M8 targeted ban, stock targeted ban, smoke fairly common on capture the flag, overclock standard ban, active cam on overdrive on capture the flag, super standard bans again, and so is rapid fire on high caliber. The 2 targeted bans to throw the game into a team's favor are both from Splyce.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's
don't agree with HyperGames' choices at all. Poor decision making on their part, and then we saw, the CTFs from both of these sides in the semis. I give the advantage to Splyce again. The more dominating performance on the evac. To be like, they just so much pressure in the base. 3 players pushing up over and over again. They have the sort of safety man which we're used to seeing. Splyce was playing every single respawn game type overall better, in my opinion, than HyperGames was. Yes, they had a good series, the nice comeback from Millennium, yada, yada, yada. We mentioned it a couple times. Yeah. Not impressive enough. For me, honestly. Splyce is outplaying them so hard in this one. It showed in the uplink right there. No sort of control whatsoever for HyperGames. You said you needed to get sub-control up on the map. It didn't happen at all.
No. And just to quickly touch on the specialist draft that has actually come in, we are going to see a mirror matchup. It's going to be Kinetic, Tempest, Heatwave, and Vision Pulse. Pretty much the ones you want to take in this. The only thing you could maybe say is consider taking a double lethal, but even then, I'm not too worried about it. I don't feel like it's a necessity.
No, but again, it just leans towards the HyperGames do something different. They're not. There's nothing you can say. The tools are there for them to potentially try and change it, but they're not changing anything. It's not working for them, so they're not changing it, so they're going to lose.
I wonder if they're just in that bubble. I wonder if they're in that bubble and they can't see what we can see. We've got the benefit of hindsight. We're not the ones sitting down in that booth. Maybe they're in that booth thinking, no, that's all right. I quite like the Man of War. I'm doing okay with it.
But they're not.
I think they are. The slaying was in their favor. They didn't control the map properly.
My problem is if they think, if they look at the scoreboard, they're having the same sort of thought that other people might be thinking. It's like, oh, we only lost 3 to 5 in that uplink.
Yeah.
That is not indicative of anything to me. You got smashed in that one. It was a low-scoring uplink that we're used to seeing, but when was Splyce ever out of control?
Never.
When was Splyce not pre-aiming the drone? When was Splyce not ready for something? Always ready for it. It got a little bit close at the end, but complete control, always.
Yeah, I think so as well. And all right, Tan, I'm going to put you in the HyperGames booth. You're now Zyla. How do you kind of get your team back focused into this part here? The ban and protect we don't think has gone your way. You know, what does the team need to focus on?
I mean, he's clearly sitting there on his phone watching the France-Iceland game. I don't know. You sort of say to the guys, right, let's try and play it differently. Try and do something different because it's clearly not working. But what can they really do different? Because one of the main things to try and change the game is the ping and ban system, and they haven't really done anything with that. So you just got to leave it to them to try and G them up. Say, right, okay, yeah, we did it against Millennium. We brought the comeback, but now we've got to do that and win another map on top of it as well against a team who's clearly absolutely on fire.
Yep.
It's just, it's a bad situation right now.
It certainly is. Well, let's find out. Is this going to be a 4-0 or have we got an incredible game on our hands? We are about to find out. Time to hand it over once again to our casting squad. It's going to be Momo and Courage.
Get the reverse sweep going, baby. I want to see this be close. I fear it's not, but I'm just saying that out loud.
Well, what you want and what you get, it's usually two different things, Jack. We've all learned that in life. However, Splyce 3-0 so far. Let's give HyperGames a bit of love. I've gone on board with Brain because he's very, very good at this map. They've left the Man of War in, and I've got to agree with the boys on the desk. I think it's a bad decision. However, so far, Brain 2-0.
And they are pushing all 3 lanes, so if 1 or 2 kills can go in favor of Splyce, they should be able to hold off their flag. Rated staying alive could be that spoiler, and that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, Brain, the only one left alive now. Yes, you're 2-0, but can he make a difference? Splyce's defense there, very, very strong. I like the positioning from Brain here, just kind of cutting it off, but he's going to get caught from behind. And that's Bant and Joe. Important kill, though, for Nolson. Who is this being a bit of a sneaky beaver? It's Josh.
Yeah, he's going to get close on up. Nolson is there, though. And now we will play from middle map pressure yet again. The ARs, the Man of War is still in the hands of majority of Splyce players. Rated's rocking one. Obviously, we had just saw Bance utilizing one in top middle. Joe trying to play an off angle. He gets cut down. Zed with the flag pull opportunity just a minute into this game.
Yep, and he's actually going to look for this player before going for that flag pull. Will that come back? That play is going to go down. It's quicker, and 2-4, Zed answers back. However, there's one gunfight that's very important. Bance is going to pull his flag. There's one player that's going to be alerted. Nolson, I actually think he's too far away. Bance has got away with this.
He has gotten away, but he has no teammates yet watching his middle cut, so he's going to be pinched any second. If Rated can now watch over this wall run, I mean, this is actually a capture opportunity. Where are the players of the opposing team? Bance gets shot in the back. I think if he brings that top green, he caps that flag.
Yeah, I 100% agree, but it was almost a 50-50 for him. Joe, oh, he gets bullets. He tagged him up. He finally gets the kill, but it will be ran away, and that's from Brain.
I think he just bought enough time for Rated to get there. Oh, especially with Brain pre-aiming middle map. Right.
I think he's taking his time. He's making sure he gets the kill. He's going to put a lot of distance. If that goes over, it's not auto-return, but that is teamwork there as Bance just slides on in. Rated, though, still going here. 6-2 at the moment.
He's got the flag out for a brief moment, then is immediately stopped in his tracks. Joe just needs to be a sneaky beaver, and you could tell by how HyperGames are pushing up. I don't think they're expecting him to be in this position. Zed clearing out one inside of Splyce's space. Joe gonna run this flag towards bottom palace. EMP check, nothing. Ooh, that hesitation. Will that come back to hurt him in the end? Vision pulse ready from Nolson.
Brain just started shooting his own teammate there. Joe will be alerted to that. Joe's just kind of lingering around. He can't really do anything at the moment.
He's relieving pressure on his side of the map, simple as that.
Surely not.
Oh, that was a poor decision. I mean, yes, he tries to heat wave, but it was way too late. He was being shot at already. He had the opportunity to heat wave him before he was killed. 2 minutes left inside one. So far, nothing spectacular between these two teams, as Rated is still just going to hold this lane, play a little bit more passively as they wait for their two teammates to come off the 7.5-second respawn.
Okay, well, Zed, Mr. Movement at the moment as he bounced from wall to wall, and he's still going. He's going to find one if he checks behind him. Oh my goodness, so close. This is intense. Who is this right next to him on the other side? Zed is just next to this wall. They are literally head-to-head, and the first bullets exchange, Zed's going to get the better Rated, and now can push on 2-4 down. He's actually gone straight over the head of one.
Oh, God.
If he saw him, that heat wave would have been perfect.
That was actually really interesting to watch from Joe. The second he gets that kill, he just tosses a Semtex onto the flag to basically stop this player who's still around the corner in quicker from just rushing towards that objective, right? He basically reads him like a book. Joe shooting lasers right now with the VMP. 8-7 start from him. Bance still playing for middle map control. Josh, the player kind of lagging behind right now of anybody in this lobby, was 2-9, now 3-9.
Well, he makes it 4. Oh no, he doesn't. He goes down. He's 3-10. As that was Bance picking up another kill, who isn't short of any at the moment. But HyperGames seem to be really putting up the best fight in the series, I would say here. They're going toe-to-toe with them.
They most certainly are, but we saw back earlier today the explosiveness of Splyce if they can just find one weakness in HyperGames. Quicker, still pushing up this back green side. They've got Vision Pulse to use. They've held on to this for quite the long time now. I know you want to kind of use it in the correct position, but at the same point, you could have earned a second Vision Pulse probably at this rate.
Yeah, well, Joe's just gone down in the enemy base. Rated just waiting for the Tempest here. Misses 2. That's going to be picked up. Did he just get a hit marker on that? I am not sure. He's just taken out the ACXD, and that's some flashy plays. Will he pick up the second? The flag return doesn't really need to go in straight away, but my goodness, he doesn't miss with this.
Chase us down, 14 seconds left. Player has gotten in towards construction, but I think they've kind of stopped him for the moment. They're going to push this flag carrier, Brain with players challenging from all over. There's actually not enough time for Splyce to get this across the map. Maybe 10 more seconds, and this is a 1-0 lead for Splyce going into side 2. Rated gets a rare hit marker with that Tempest. I'm guessing the player had kinetic armor.
Yeah.
If not, someone's got some explaining to do.
I think the only excuse is kinetic, because that does happen. We have seen it. It is rare, but my goodness, the amount of Call of Duty both yourself and I have casted over the past 6 months is bound to happen sooner or later.
What's funny?
0-0 though.
Yeah, what's funny is I hadn't seen a Tempest kind of bounce off kinetic armor in a long, long time. And then in one Fringe Hardpoint game a couple weeks ago, it happened twice to the same player in the same scenario. As now it will be Splyce's Joe we're watching off side 2. EMP checks construction. Many players will say this engagement is the most important of the half. You need to stay alive. He does get flanked, and now the pressure will be felt on the Splyce base.
Vance, double digits now. Again, the slaying, it's not really favoring anyone. If you're going to pick a side, it is HyperGames. The flag isn't going to be pulled just yet. Big kills from Vance on the defense there, and now relieves a lot of stress.
3 dead.
This is big here.
3 dead, and if Joe can even trade this kill, he'll earn that heat wave. Josh has gotten it out for the moment. He's going to bring it right in towards construction. Do they have anybody watching top green? It doesn't appear so. The Tempest, great weapon to have, but I think it's just too late. This should be a capture. Splyce will get on the board first. With about 4 minutes remaining in regulation, just cap it, and he got the one-shot call out and pre-aimed the corner.
That is ridiculous. That's teamwork, that's chemistry. That is what makes a good team great.
That's one of those where you're going, he's gonna peek in 3, 2, 1, and Josh was already pre-firing. Such a smart play. Not only will he get the capture, he'll stay on his streak, and Splyce are parading back across middle map.
Yeah, both flags back at pace, though. The score is 1-0. If it stays like this in the next 3 minutes, 42 seconds, the game will be over. The series will be over. Splyce will be your G-Infinity CWL Summer Masters champions. However, do HyperGames have it in them?
I hope they do, man. I really do, because right now, all I'm seeing is Splyce give more and more reason for people to think that they are the best team in Europe. 4 go down. The flag is pulled. They do actually spawn one player, Palace, but he gets out quick enough for the spawns to still come in. This will be a 2-0 flag lead, and they are just unrelenting. Everyone rotating back for HyperGames. It's the right call in this situation. They know with no streaks available, with no specialists, there's no way they go for that stop.
I'm thankful that Rated didn't do that boost slide there.
Look at the bottom map.
Yeah, Josh is ready for the relay. Let's go on board, see if he does pick this one up straight away. They have dedicated themselves, and for me, HyperGames now, in the booth, they're going, boys, let's commit. Let's go 100%. We'll go for counter cap. We'll pull theirs. Hopefully, we'll break the stalemate. And here we go. Josh is all on alone. However, gunfight's going down at cages. Flag is still in the hands of both teams. Uh-oh. They're coming head-to-head.
Josh blown up by that HC. Second player there to challenge. It's going to be Rated, clutching up the first engagement. Now spins back around. I do believe the flag has been returned. Splyce pick up the objective. That will be a 3rd capture. It went into the half 0-0, and now it's a capture per minute. I think this series is done. I think we have our G-Infinity CWL Summer Masters champions.
Yeah, it's looking good. Vance, the man of the moment here, 17 kills. He adds to that one, 18 and 14, 3 kill streak. Line of strike, it's like almost like a lifesaver. Brains picked up 2, but Jack, this is looking so good for Splyce right now.
If I have to crown an MVP of this event, it might actually be Bance for me. He's gained so much respect for me and how he plays this game. So many smart decisions. This is going to be another flag pull. This should be another capture as long as they can just clear out the one remaining HyperGames member in their base.
Yep, and that member is Quicker. Quicker does have the flag and he's pulled it away. He's running into trouble though. Where does he go? He uses kinetic and he uses it at the right time. I do think this is too much, however, they are still going for it. 90 seconds left on the clock. Technically, there's still time. They can relay if it all goes their way, but so far, as the time ticks down, it is not looking good.
It most certainly isn't. They have to cap this flag. There's no other way around it. They cannot afford to be stopped on this route. The lightning strike kills the player inside construction. They're going to send one member over to grab that objective, but as all this action is developing, Rated has pulled it one final time on the overextension. 59 seconds is all Splyce have to hold on for. This game is already done.
Yeah, it is done. It is dusted. It is over. HCXD is available, and 50 seconds on the clock says only one thing, and that is Splyce are going to take this CWL G Masters. And in such fashion, it's going to be 3-0 in this. You know, the other games were convincing. Yes, the Uplink was closer, but this was so one-sided. HyperGames have just put a flag in. I do want to highlight that. Bit of commiseration.
Yeah, exactly. You go ahead and highlight it. It won't do anything for the outcome of this game. Everyone covering their base. Bance one final time uses that kinetic armor just to add insult to injury. 25 and 17, 25 and 18. That is it, folks. Your champion, Splyce. And they know they just took that one with ease. Rated gets up, fist bumps to his teammates. There's Bance on the front of your screen. The MVP of the weekend for me. The boys look great, and we might have a new king in Europe.
Well, Splyce, they seem to have dethroned the lads of Infused. Infused fell out top 8. Millennium fell shortly after against HyperGames. They put up a good fight. And Splyce, they came out on top. They had a disappointing MLG. Yep. They've come back fighting.
And you want to have a great finals, right? You want to have one that's close to the end. For me, it's a great finals for Splyce, HyperGames. You held your own. You get a top 2 placing. You shut up some of those doubters. But ladies and gentlemen, these are your CWL Gfinity Summer Masters champions, Splyce with a 4-0 victory in the grand final.
There we go, Rated, Joe, Josh, and Bance. We've highlighted so many plays over the weekend already. $10,000 for first place here. Congratulations to the boys. You've talked about MVPs, courage. You know, Josh, Bance, they both had superb games, but I think a whole team effort goes into that one. Well done.
One final time, your champion, Splyce, with the 4-0 victory.
All right, well, we do have some new champions. Congratulations to Splyce. They will take home that $10,000 and that rather lovely trophy. And you know what? In the end, it looked like they deserve it. It was a nice 4-0 for them. They took down HyperGames and they looked in control the entire series.
Yeah, very, very impressive stuff from them. We kept harping on it throughout that series. HG didn't really do too much in the ban protect to change any of those respawns into their favor. And, you know, we were very, very critical of HG in this series. But the big picture here, they got a second place. Everyone was doubting them. This is the LAN performance they sort of needed to give themselves the momentum, I guess, going into the stage 2.
Yeah, I think it's very important, you know, going into stage 2, I think you're exactly right. They have another big tournament coming up. They at least know they can battle with the Titans now. That question at least has been answered in some degree, and they need to keep this up. Keep it up, and everyone's going to start really rating this team.
Yeah, I mean, you know, looking at this, where would you put HyperGames this weekend? I was thinking top 4, they may get knocked out of the semis. Yeah. I mean, I think that was probably everyone's realistic sort of opinions of them. To go one step further, they're definitely going to take some things from that. They'll look at this game and probably not take a great deal from it, if anything. You know, they just got absolutely smashed. So, I mean, you know, they'll look into it and say, right, okay, yeah, okay, our picks and bans probably could have been better, you know. Maybe
don't pick a map that, you know, the team's just got 22 and 0 on.
Yeah, so if anything, they will learn things. But, you know, in the way that they lost the maps as well, it was never really out of contention with Splyce. They always looked in control. HyperGames need to move on from this and see what they can do going to the Season 2 finals.
Well, I certainly think so. I mean, I've said, you know, before, I believe the elite level teams in Europe are Splyce, Infused, and Millennium. Yeah. Just below that is my next tier of Epsilon, Dexerto, and Supremacy, and no, sorry, not Supremacy, HyperGames. And, you know, I think that's how it's genuinely been. But right now, HyperGames are looking to lift themselves up. But before we go too much into everything that happened in this series, we are going to throw it down for an interview with one of the champions. Mike, please take it away.
Thanks, Brycey. I'm here with Josh. Congratulations, champion again. How does it feel being back on top? It's been a while. Feels good again, and hopefully we can keep it because this is just only the start. Like playoffs is the big thing, and we need to make sure we win that.
You are a veteran player. You've done it all. You've even beat Optic Gaming in a grand final, believe it or not. Now, how does it feel to bring 3 players through and get them to win a championship like that?
Well, I mean, Joe and Reese have both won events before, but Bance, well, he won like a Tony O series, so it was his first big event win. So it's good to get him his first win. I said to him before, "Are you ready to get your first big event win?" And he said, "Yeah." And we went and done it in a convincing fashion.
Yeah, it was 4-0. It didn't look really close the entire time. I'm sure there's a few production staff here who are happy that it ended 4-0. But what was your strategy going into it? And was there anything that they did? Was there anything they did that confused you or threw you off a little bit? It looked pretty straightforward.
No, it's pretty standard. Yeah, like all maps were standard ban and protects. I mean, we obviously banned a few guns, like banning them out a little bit, but everything else is pretty standard, and it was just a normal series.
Where did you expect them to do better?
Well, I expected them to get more than 63 points on the Hardpoint, but apart from that, like Infection's one of our best maps, and it was down to the last second. The CTF breach, we haven't really played it, and then obviously the Hardpoint was a bit, yeah.
I asked you about your MVP in the last interview we did. Is it still Bance? Would you still say that?
Yeah, I gotta give him his first decent event win. Definitely Bance.
Excellent. Well, look, congratulations. How are you guys going to celebrate tonight?
I don't know. We'll see.
There you go. Conclusive. We're going to go back up to the desk with Brycey, where they're going to break down that 4-0 game.
Well, definitely Bance. Do we agree, guys?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
I think
I like so.
I like the pick.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of good moments from him.
MVP Bance it is. I'm okay with that. All right, well, let's quickly kind of get into this. There is one small point, a small tinge of sadness for me for my benchmarking system, is that everybody keeps beating everybody, and it's ruining it. But you know what? I'm happy anyway to see, HyperGames do well. Splyce, they end up taking it at the same time. All right, let's quickly go through this once more. I just want to cover the last map we saw first. I know it's not a way to do it, but it's fresh in our minds. Let's talk about the capture of the flag.
Basically, Splyce plays CTF much different from the other teams I've seen in the European scene. Basically, a lot of pressure. 3 people always going up to the base. The team pushes. That's what they replicate. That's similar to the NA style of CTF, and it works for a reason, right? So much pressure. The other team's going to falter at times, and they get a lot of flags.
Yeah, I mean, it looked really good from them. They were all over the place. I mean, just the communication, it was epitomized by that kill by Josh when he had the flag, he was running it in. The call-outs have obviously came in. The guy's weak round. He's pre-spraying before he's even there. But he starts like shooting directly as the guy comes around the corner before he even sees him. And I mean, that just really just epitomizes
communication right there.
The communication from Splyce. Very, very good. Very, very strong from them. It was just emphatic. I mean, all the way through, all in control. Never looked likely that HyperGames were going to win a map, never mind get a flag. So, I mean,
I think that's great as well. Pointing out communication is so important. It's sometimes overlooked. Apart from the times you do see, like, we get a list in and go, oh, that's really good. But that is the example, right? That is, he gave Josh the opportunity to make that kill and make it easier. Didn't have to get him weak. Didn't have to worry about anything else. Just in case there was another player or another scenario that could have hurt him down the road. So, yeah, I think for me, Splyce, they were in control of that CTF. But let's now go back to the series very briefly. Hardpoint dominating. It was dominating, and I think HyperGames are really going to have to take away and look and maybe rethink if they do get vetoes again. Maybe not that map.
Yeah, vetoes were pretty interesting, which we went over in the pregame show, and it kind of went as we were talking about. Fringe seems to be one of their best maps. Infection, one of their best maps, and they showed it time and time again. The biggest thing, though, is if you're only getting 60-something points on a Fringe, there's lots of things going wrong. You have to go back, if you're HyperGames, and watch that VOD and see why. Why are you getting broke so easily? And most of the times it comes into someone peeking out, challenging too much. As soon as Splyce gets the intro kill, they stack up together and just hit you right in the face time and time again. It snowballs out of control. Streaks, specialists. Next thing you know, the game's over before you even know it.
I think that's crucial as well. You are right. If it's a close game, you go, oh, well, there's 1 or 2 points here, and maybe we won't make that mistake again. When you just can't get points on the board, you'll go, well, why couldn't we get grannies? Why, maybe an early rotate. I mean, 63 points. You can get that almost 60 points in one hill in an early rotate. But I think you're right. I think they need to go back. They need to watch it. Picking the Infection Uplink for me, they were clearly confident on it. I want to go back and quickly talk about that as well, because we said, why have you picked it? And for it to be a 5-3 game, you did say, Teep, it was a close game, but not in your opinion. It's going to be more, they had control.
Splyce did a very good job not only in the uplink and the CTF, using the objective to make the other team worry about it. If you're constantly worrying about the drone or the flag on an objective game type, you're not going to feel comfortable enough pushing out of your base. You want to play defense, and that's what Splyce does so well. The uplink, it was such a low-scoring game because they never went for a dunk. They never put themselves in a situation where they're forcing anything, right? If you always have the drone, you always have control. The other team has to make the play. Splyce did it the whole series.
I mean, they play it sensibly. That's it, isn't it? It's nothing
smart.
too risky about it. It's just clever. You know, they get the control. They move as a unit. It's a cohesive thing, working together. It's nothing too flashy. You know, I mean, we do see individual plays from Splyce, which is just another additional level of their gameplay as well. But they work together fantastically well. The structure was there. They pushed forward as a team, made the important points when they could. HyperGames never even look. They didn't look likely in that game whatsoever as well, and it just really stamps how good Splyce are.
It certainly does. Well, let's take a little look at the final standings where everybody came in this tournament. As you can see, the champions right there at the top, it is going to be Splyce. Coming in second, HyperGames take away $5,000. After that, we have joint third and fourth, Millennium and Dexerto. They take $1,500. Fifth to eighth is going to be Supremacy, Team Orbit, Epsilon Esports, and Team Infused. 9th to 12th, Team LDLC, Y6, Riot Gaming, Fab Gaming. And then 13th to 14th, U4X Esports, and Team MRN. All these teams entered, but only one champion come through. But there we go. First of all, happy birthday to TP. It is this legend's birthday today.
Thank you.
And you know what? He has done a great job anchoring the desk. I'm so happy you were here, TP. And I'd like to thank everybody who watched and took part, including all of these guys here jumping around behind me. And of course, to all of you watching, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.